Steve, my good man, how the devil are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good, my friend. As we've just discussed, I'm completely out of beer or any form of alcohol in the house, so I'm actually 3 coffees deep. I thought, what's going to get me in the mood to talk about MotoGP when I've got no beer? 3 coffees, that'll do it. So I'm a little off the walls.
You do look a little bit sort of like you're bouncing here, buddy.
A bit wired, just a bit on edge.
Yeah,
It just means
like,
that in like an hour, I'm just going to have a major crash and just be asleep on the mic.
yeah, I'll be like shaking the laptop. Come on, Tim.
Yeah.
Calling Sheree, get him another coffee.
Yeah, exactly. That's the one, mate. I think she'd probably just tell you to fuck off, to be honest, mate.
Probably. She'd be like, let him be.
Yeah, exactly. How was your weekend anyway, Steve?
Absolutely amazing, mate. Spent Friday and Saturday just basically wishing the time away till Sunday, and then Sunday came round and we had a cracking day, mate. It was really good. Yeah, long day. We had to get up for 4, leave for 5.
It's a rough start, man.
That is a rough
commitment.
start. That is commitment. We thought and we were right. We're gonna have to get there early, because the doors were at 8, gates open at 8, and we're like everyone's going to be gone because we only had like roaming tickets, so we knew we had to get a good spot.
Yeah.
We got there for about 7:45, and it was packed. It was absolutely packed. Everyone was there. People were set up with like their little beach tents, all sorts going on, mate. Barbecues going. It was great. Yeah, cracking day. Absolutely cracking day. Tiring, long, but worth it. So worth it.
Good stuff, mate. Got to see Valentino Rossi's last race on British soil, man.
We did, yeah. That was really, really good. We did upgrade us tickets to go in a grandstand, which I'm really happy we did because we had a good view. The only thing that annoyed me a little bit was around Silverstone, they have really high crash barriers. Really, really high. So that sort of restricted your view a bit.
Okay.
Still,
I guess it makes sense with so many fast corners and stuff, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, some of them, it's like watching some of the foreign football where these crash barriers are like huge. But yeah, it does make sense because if those guys come off, those bikes are going one way.
Yeah, exactly.
Silverstone's got a weird track, although it's fast. Some of these corners are long and sweeping. We came out the grandstand, we stood track side near the fence, and we were maybe, I'm guessing, 10 feet from the track on the racing line. Pretty much like same thing we said about the BSB or the bike racing at Snetterton, just coming off down that little grassy bank we were sat on.
Yeah,
made it feel so much closer, and it was exactly the same there. We watched the Moto2 race from there, and it just was insane trying to keep up with these bikes going past you because they were right in your face.
Yeah.
So it was good. It was good.
Yeah, that's great, man. And which corner were you at?
We were on the Hanger Straight.
Okay.
In Abbey stand. Nice little straight. Leads. I think the corner before it's Stowe or Vale. One of the two. I can't remember exactly.
We tried to do this in the last show, Steve, and neither one of us could, mate. I'm not going to try again.
There's way too many corners. I know the Rossi fans were in Cops.
Weren't they at Vale as well?
No, that oddly enough, Vale I think was Ducati.
Oh,
which
okay.
Makes no sense. And then Marquez fans were in Village A and B stands.
Okay.
Not that you got to see much of him. Spoiler.
Well,
but it was good. It was good. It was good to go. Things are so different there as well. Like I was just saying to you before we started recording, things like just the colours. There's so different in real life. I don't know if it's my telly's just a bit shit. But like the Tech 3 bikes, the orange is insanely bright, so bright. And the Aprilia, the red is a stunning sort of like Diablo red.
Okay.
It's really, really nice. And then they had a replica of Crutchlow's bike on a stand that we walked past. I couldn't get any pictures because there was too many people around it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That blue is a weird colour.
The Yamaha factory bike.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a weird blue. It almost merges with the black with the stripes. It's just stunning looking. Everything looks so different in real life.
Yeah, and it's quite an art form, I think, for the designers to create a bike that looks great in person, but also looks good on TV. I imagine getting the colour palette right, and it's actually quite a challenge.
It is, yeah. I mean, I know I bang on about choreographing stuff all the time and how I do things, but when you see it in the flesh, you think, actually, that's not an easy job.
Oh, don't be saying that now, Steve. I'm still relying on you to be choreographing everyone's Bike launches next year.
Oh, I'm on it, mate. Don't worry. Don't
Okay.
worry. I'm emailing everyone, offering my services.
Last time I
But
did that, I nearly got arrested. So
eesh, that depends what you emailing, mate.
it depends on the services you offer as well.
Yeah, happy ending. Yeah, that's good. I would recommend it. If anyone ever gets a chance to go see these things live, if you haven't, seriously, next year, look into it. Go. It is, you can't describe it. The thunderous noise just rattles your chest. Somehow Brody managed to sleep through 3 laps of the MotoGP race.
I mean, impressive.
It's
Actually.
seriously impressive. But he fell asleep, like we get some food, and we got our insanely expensive pasties.
Oh, you said how big were these pasties? Just explain for everyone that wasn't there how much these pasties were, and I'd like to know how big they were as well.
Not for, right. We went to the vendor. There was plenty of food vendors around, but the queues were insane. So like each part of the track was cordoned off into sections. So you'd have 3 or 4 stands, and there you'd have like a set of merchandise, a set of food vendors, and a toilet block. So you were limited on your choice. These things, Cornish pasties, synonymous with Britain. If anyone doesn't know what Cornish pasty is, it's pastry stuffed with a meat and veg filling of all different flavours. Look them up; they're pretty nice, actually. Bog standard size, mate. So, what are we talking? You could barely fit them in 2 hands.
Yeah, okay. I don't know how to describe the size of just a standard pasty. Like, I don't know, a bit shorter than a water bottle, about as wide.
Yeah, hot dog.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, okay.
A fat hot dog that you picked up at like a ball game or something, a soccer game, football game, wherever you're from. Just a
much
fat,
more filling than a hot dog, though.
Yeah, you stuff it full of all different sorts of stuff. Used to be a workman's dinner, didn't it? Back in the day, years and years ago.
Yeah, I think originally it was to take down into the mines because the pastry's quite tough, isn't it? And I do also believe, who knew this was going to turn into a history of Cornish pasty, Steve? But I do also believe that they had a pastry partition almost in the bottom third. They'd fill, and then that bottom third would be filled with like jam or something sweet, so you could eat through the meat bit, and then you'd have your dessert also in there for like the sweet bit at the bottom.
Yeah, it was basically one meal in a day, and it would stay warm. You take it to work with you. But yeah, big fat hot dog style, right? 3 of them, £26.
£26 for fuck's sake! That's so much money.
That was insane. My chin hit the floor, man. Bearing in mind, I still had these things in my hand. They'd Brody asleep on me, but like going to sleep. Sarah passed me the pasty. She had hold of Enzo. She had the card to hand, and I got just taken a massive bite which burnt the inside of my mouth. And this woman just turned around and me, said £26, please. Like, what?
God. And when you think about it, like, I can get a pasty, I don't know, in Sainsbury's garage for like £2.
We could go down into like Broccadillo's, a sandwich place in town, and get a massive Cornish pasty for like £2.50.
Yeah, exactly.
But stadium food, stadium drinks.
Well, that's it, and it's the same as a music festival. Everything costs a bomb because actually, to be fair, the guys who are putting these stalls up have to pay a fucking ton for that pitch, so they have to be making a ton. And I don't know what it costs for a race weekend, but I imagine it's similar to a festival. And some of the festival ones are like 10-15 grand for the pitch for the weekend.
Yeah, it's a lot of money, but they definitely got the money out of it. But yeah, nice though, real nice pasty, but price.
Wouldn't be queuing up for another one though at that price.
No, I made that bastard last.
Yeah, you're like, that's literally dinner, kids. There's nothing else. Nothing else.
Yeah, you're not getting anything else all day. Daddy's now got to work some overtime.
You're like, well, that's actually the kids' ticket for next year just spent, so you'll have to leave them at home.
Yes, yeah, they're coming though. They're going to come next year. They had a great time. But yes, fabulous weekend, mate.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'm very jealous. I've been green with envy all weekend, and then you started sending me videos and pictures, and I was like, oh god, I'm raging now.
All right, man. I was trying to do some like as many live streams, get as many videos as I could, and it was hard in the stand holding 2 kids or Brody. I tried to film and get everything was pretty damn hard, and I was gutted the quality didn't come out because as it got towards the MotoGP race, everyone was rinsing the internet.
Yeah.
So there's me filming, thinking, "Oh, this is really good." Uploading it straight away, and it just came through crap. But we have got some more stuff. I'm sort of editing it out a bit, and
Nice.
Andy, who we know is the cameraman, sent us some real awesome stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I've got to find out whether we could use, which I will post because we got some pretty good behind the scenes stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that's a friend of ours was managing to get a job as a cameraman there for the weekend. I assume he wasn't filming the bikes, was he? Because that's going to be Dorna only crew that travel around to do that. But he was just
he was a little bit gutted because he'd never been to a race weekend before. He mainly does like the horse racing, and it's his first time there, and he was just filming the main stage. And
okay.
We saw him after MotoGP, just before Moto2 on Sunday, and he said he hadn't seen a thing at a race.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah. He's like, I'm literally perched up on the main stage because in between races they were putting entertainment on the main stage.
Okay.
So he had to get prepped up for it. So he was just there watching that. Pretty bored.
Yeah, that's not quite as much fun, eh? That's not the majestic watching the race, is it? Not the yeah. I don't know what I'm trying to say, man. I'm just a bit upset for him.
Yeah, I was a bit upset for him as well. Although he did get to do the interviews. He did all the rider interviews. I've sent you that video of Rossi, which I will share if I can. I've got to find out whether we could use it.
Right, anyway, then, before we get in trouble with Dorna again, shall we dive into the show properly, mate? Because although it wasn't the most scintillating of races, it was still good, and there is a lot of news that's come out of the weekend too.
Oh, God, yeah, there is a lot of news. This could be a long show.
Yeah, exactly. So let's dive in, shall we?
Let's go straight for it, buddy.
Good stuff. So, I'm Tim, he's Steve, and this is For the Love of MotoGP. And if you're new to MotoGP, guys, don't forget to check out our introduction to MotoGP episode. It tells you everything you need to know to start enjoying the sport that we all love. It's a fun show. It's a long show. Just scroll back through your feed and you will find it. And for everyone who stayed with us and not gone and scrolled back, let's dive in, Steve. First bit of news then. Literally today, Steve, as we're speaking, Maverick Vinales has been testing the Aprilia at Misano.
He has, buddy, yeah. And there's been quite a bit of coverage of this all over social media. Normally tests like this are pretty closed doors. This one's been not a free-for-all, but we've seen more of this test than we used to.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is Aprilia using it as a good branding exercise, but there's also other people there. We know Stefan Bradl's there testing. The VR46 guys are there on street bikes testing. So there's more than
there as well.
Yes, exactly. So it's more than just, Vinales circulating on the Aprilia. Like there's a lot of stuff going on. So it would be hard to hide it anyway. So you may as well use it as a branding exercise.
Yeah. So use it to their advantage. From what we hear, he's got on quite well. Posted some good, respectable lap times. Classic Mav.
Yeah, exactly. As you said earlier, Steve, Mav doing Mav's thing. Just, testing. I'm going to fucking nail this.
Yes, let's lead you into a false sense here and just nail this one and then come race day. I'll be nowhere.
Yeah, quite.
From what we hear, he's done plenty of laps, got on pretty well with the bike and posted some pretty respectable times. So
yeah, what's the words coming out? The word coming out is what he's done 60 laps, but he only really had half a day running because it rained this afternoon. And I think his best lap time was something like 1:33 flat.
Something like that. Yeah, on his social media, he put down like good feeling plus 1:33 flat with a thumbs up. So
yeah, that's what 0.7 off Aleix Espargaro's qualifying time from Misano last year. Yes. It's only about a second and a half off Mav's fastest ever lap of Misano. So, not bad for his first run on the bike. It's a very different bike to the one Aleix had last year, but still, I mean, this is his first outing on it. It's a V4. It's the first time he's not had an inline bike. Interesting. And I think everything is looking good, really. So I imagine to see him doing races by the end of the year, whether it's as a wild card or whether he's in the team properly.
Yeah. We'll see. I just hope if he is in the team properly that this isn't his usual good in testing, show to the race.
I mean, it probably is, Steve. Let's be fair.
Yeah, let's just call it as it is. He'll be shite.
Yes, quite. Now, I don't think it'll be shy. It's going to be different. It's just going to be interesting. I'm quite looking forward to seeing Mav on a different machine. Now, I kind of got a bit bored of Mav never delivering the potential we all thought he had. So it'll be fun to see him just taking on a new challenge. And one where I'm not expecting him to go and win the championship.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a good step for him. It's going to be a good build. You know, he jumped straight on a bike which had the potential to win the championship, and he was expected to win the championship on.
And he was expecting to win the championship as well. He believed he would do it. And when it didn't happen, it just sort of broke him.
Yeah, that is exactly what seemed to happen. Once that realization that he wasn't going to win the championship on that bike, you're right. I think it did sort of play with his head a bit and really got to him. So, yeah, now he's on something different and he's got to work at it. He knows he's going to have to work at this big time. So we're going to see a side of him which we haven't yet seen, where he's got to build this bike up like Alicia's done. So...
yeah, exactly. And I think it's looking good for him and Aleix, because I didn't realise how well they got on, actually. But all of the stuff coming out with Aleix being like, oh, I hope Mav likes the bike I've been making. I think he's going to be good, but I think I'm going to be better. They seem like pretty chummy, like they're going to be proper bros. I'm quite looking forward to seeing a bromance in a MotoGP team, because I feel like we're missing bromances in teams.
Yeah, I think we could see our first sort of bromance pop out of this garage. But yeah, these guys do seem to get on really well. They seem to... behind the scenes, like even off track, they seem to spend a lot of time together, and they're just gonna hopefully get on really well. We know both of these guys can be really fiery, so I'd be interested to see what happens the first time one trips the other up.
Oh mate, it's gonna be gold. It'll be gold.
Yeah, it will be like squabbling on track, then hugging back in pits behind the scenes. I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Don't leave me.
Yeah, don't go. Don't break up our duo.
Yeah. Did you see the images on the MotoGP website and the video, actually, in fact, of Mav on the Aprilia?
I did, yes. Yeah. Interesting to see, like, someone pointed out the Monster Energy sponsorship is gone.
I mean, I've literally got it in the notes. Well, off from Mav, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there was no sponsors on anything. There was no sponsors on the Aprilia at all, and there was no sponsors on Mav at all. So I don't know. Did his Monster sponsorship come from Yamaha? I assume it probably did.
It looks that way.
I don't know who his personal sponsors are, but I just thought it was a bit odd that like Aprilia hadn't used this as a branding exercise as well to get sponsors on the bike.
That's what I thought. I was like, you seem to have missed a trick here. But there'll obviously be reasons behind it that we don't yet know.
I'm sure it's just contractual bollocks. Like no one just wanted to pay for a bit of testing. I guess they probably got more screen time out of it than they expected to get, and no one was willing to pay for that.
No. It's a very interesting point. Like you say, did a lot of the sponsorship come through Yamaha, but then he's going to bring his own sponsors with him. But who knows? For some reason, a completely unbranded leathers, unbranded bike, apart from the Aprilia colour scheme. So very, very bizarre to see. It
looked weird without sponsorship. There's big empty gaps on there. I usually quite like bikes without sponsors, but I think the Aprilia is so broken up by that big aero on the front, and there's a couple of big panels on there, and it just looks weird without sponsorship.
It does. It kind of looks pretty barren, like it's just missing something. Which obviously it is. It's just missing the sponsorship, and all of a sudden, like you say, you're left with these massive panels. It's just like, well, hang on, let's get the fucking LSD and crayons out again and go for it.
Steve's back with the LSD and crayons again.
Honda don't come up with something mental this year, I'm slapping someone in the face. That's such a rant about.
Yeah. And you're going to have the same rant on our bike launch show next year, Steve.
Yes. Yeah, that really did fire me up this year. I was so pissed off with that.
Right, let's move it on through the news, Steve. These next two news items have essentially been confirmed by Lynn Jarvis, although there's no official announcement been made. So no press release, but, you know, Lynn Jarvis has said that these things are going to happen. So unless he's trolling us and this is just the ultimate troll, this is what's going down. Dovi is coming back to Yamaha.
That's going to be interesting.
It will be interesting. Yes. He's going to be taking over what is currently the Petronas SRT seat, the empty one. He'll be coming in for the rest of this season from Mazzano onwards, and then riding full-time for the team next year.
Yes. Like you say, pretty much confirmed by Lynn Jarvis. It's been kind of confirmed on social media as well. I think I did share the post on our Instagram. So yeah, it's there. It's a done deal. I'm just more interested to see how he's going to get on with this bike after not riding a Yamaha for so long. And
Yeah,
then
what was it? 2012, the last time he was on a Yamaha.
I believe so, yeah.
So we're pushing nearly a decade since his time on the podium on Yamahas.
Yeah, it's insane. And plus the fact he's had like a year off the bike,
Yeah.
or any MotoGP bike. It's just going to be interesting to see how you bring someone in after such a long time away. You know, I mean, you could argue that Marc Marquez had similar time off, but you know, he was used to that bike.
Marquez is also in a different place in his career. Marquez was literally at the peak of his powers when he had his year off. Dovi arguably was waning. I mean, he's not as good as he was in 2017, 2018. He's not performing that well when he took his time off. So how he's going to come back, we don't really know. It's just a wait and see job. But what has come from this is it looks like whatever the SRT team becomes will have at least one full factory Yamaha M1. It's not going to be the B-spec machines that we were expecting. It looks like Dovi's contract may well be straight with Yamaha, and it will be for a full factory machine for Vinales' team.
Yeah, that's quite good. It's quite nice to see that there will be one, current spec bike in that team. It'd be nice if there was two, keep them on a level playing field, because that one person, whoever gets that B-spec bike, should we call it, will just be like looking across the garage going, oh, for fuck's sake.
I don't know, man. That looks like it's going to be Darren Binder getting that ride, and I think he's going to be looking across the garage like, I can't believe I'm in fucking MotoGP, man. I don't think he's going to care what bike he's on for the first year.
No, probably not. Whoever gets it will just be happy that they're up there. But, if the results start falling by the wayside, they're saying your teammate is pulling out better results, then you're going to naturally look across and think, what could I do on that bike? But like you say, whoever gets that seat is just going to be sat there grinning like a Cheshire cat going, I'm in MotoGP.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, pretty much confirmed there.
And then the other bit that's confirmed is Morbidelli, well, almost confirmed, is Morbidelli moving to Monster Yamaha and expected to start in Misano and then to run all of next season with the team.
Yes, that's pretty cool. I like the idea of that. He deserves that step up. We know he's been off for a while, but I don't think it's going to take him too long to gel with it.
I don't think so at all. And we know he's great, man. Like, look at what Quartararo has done this year. Morbidelli easily had the measure of him last year, especially towards the end of the year.
Oh, God, yeah.
So I think that's going to be a really potent team next year, the Monster Yamaha squad, once everyone's up to speed. Arguably, one of them's going to be champion. Like, that's going to be a solid team. That's going to be a Yamaha team that we haven't seen since, 2010, Rossi and Lorenzo.
It's going to be a strong team. As long as these two get on okay, I think they'll be all right. We'll see what happens when they start butting heads on track. Will we have a wall go up again?
Nah, because we know they got on well, man. They were in a team together last year. They got on very well. It's just getting the boys back together, isn't it, practically?
Basically, if they could have a beer cooler in between the seats in the garage, they'd be fine.
Yeah.
Just sat there having a little drink, just chilling. That'd be fine. It'd be absolutely fine. So, but yeah, deserved. Very much deserved from Morbidelli's part. And I'm really happy that they're putting him up there.
Yeah, exactly. And we have been having a few chats with this in the Facebook group, Steve. And there seems to be some confusion between all of us, really, about whether Frankie's actually just allowed to jump straight on the factory bike or whether Yamaha need to seek permissions from the other teams and even the FIM, maybe. Because the problem here is that Frankie is supposed to be on the 2019 machine with the 2019 engine. And now you are allowed to swap chassis throughout the year, no problem. But you're not allowed to swap your engine allocation for the year. So he's expected to be, I assume he's going to be jumping onto a 21 engine, onto a 21 frame and everything. But I don't think this is allowed to happen. So I assume they're getting permission, but I don't know where the permission comes from to do this.
Absolutely, it's a real sort of grey area. I tried looking into it a bit, and the paperwork, man, is extensive. I think it's going to come down to if there is a change of clause in his contract.
But even that it's nothing to do with his contract. This is just rules within MotoGP. Like, he's just got to be on the engine allocation. Does he have to take penalties for every new engine he uses? Like, is it going to be something weird like that? I've really got no idea on this one, man. And I hope someone has. and if you have, while you're listening, please get in touch and let us know.
As far as I could find out, looking into it and digging into like the FIM rules, you're right. He will, if he's contracted to run 2019 engines, he will have to keep running those engines.
And he is contracted to those engines because it's the contract with Dorna that they've got to give him those engines.
Yeah, so essentially everything that he's got at Petronas will have to just go across to Monster Yamaha and be just change the colour scheme.
So do we think he's going to end up on a 2019 machine in Monster Yamaha colours?
I don't think so. I think he'll be, if he's going to that team has that bike, because this is where it gets the other flip side of the card.
It's a confusing one, man. Yeah, I think if anyone knows the answer, please do let us know, because Steve and I are just going to go around in circles on this one otherwise.
Yeah, I spent a little time today on my lunch break trying to look it up, and I was just like, oh my God, this is extensive. The ruling on it, to keep like one person straight to the contract, and then if they swap teams or swap onto something, I found a part that said they could only do it if they're a full-time rider for like X amount of time. Which is where I think the contract is going to come into play. Because if he's going to be there next year, are they going to start that contract early, which would mean he could then run current machines?
I see what you mean. So maybe it means a break in his current contract. Yeah. But then even that's weird. I don't know, man. I've literally got absolutely no idea how this is going to happen. But you're right, because if Mav can come back as a full-time rider for Aprilia...
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. Fuck knows. Someone let us know.
I personally think because he is moving, it depends where his contract is as well. If it's with Yamaha, they can.
Well, his new contract will be with Yamaha. His current contract is with SRT.
Yeah, see, this is where I think his contract with SRT will end because they're going to be no more. And this sort of situation works in well for Yamaha because they could end the SRT contract and say, right, now you're a fully fledged factory Yamaha rider, so you get this package. Dovey coming in will be the new rider, which will simply take over Dovey's old package and everything keeps straight. It's just going to be a change of name on the package. My theory, from what I can make out, but there are loopholes, there are tiebacks, there are all sorts in there. I come out of it cross-eyed. I was like,
it's all that bullshit legal talk, isn't it? Like that no real human being can actually understand.
No, and at the end of the day, some boffin will sit down and go, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen, mate.
Yeah, after everyone else has just fried their mind reading through like 28,000 pages and boom, you know. I don't know. It will get explained. I'm absolutely certain that on the 12th, or 10th, whenever we roll out to Misano or Aragon, wherever it is next, it will probably get explained by the people who are now looking it up and know these things better than we do.
Yeah, fingers crossed, eh? So let's keep moving before we just spout too much more bollocks that we really don't understand.
Yeah, that's standard.
So the aforementioned Petronas SRT squad will be revealing their new team name and new sponsor at Misano. This seems a pretty set deal. All the rumours are it's going to be With You as the title sponsor. With You, yes. Obviously the Italian energy company. So they're going to be announcing it in Misano. Seems to all just add up, really. And it's all go, really. Yamaha are going to have new riders on the bike. The Yamaha satellite team's going to have a new name, a new sponsor announced. So, like, Yamaha are going to have a busy Misano weekend.
Yes. I have got a lot on, Corey. I mean, can't give too much away. Got a lot of shit to sort out.
Oh, God, I hope you've choreographed something golden.
Yes, it can't be much harder to choreograph that shite that they had for their unveiling.
Okay, what else have we got, Steve? Pre-season testing schedule has been announced.
Yes, it is all out there in the ether for you to look up, and bloody hope this is being televised as well this year, because it was stolen from us last year.
Yeah, or we're all going to have to sign up to fucking season pass, aren't we?
Oh, we could all club together and get one. I don't know how many people I could actually sign into it, but
although aren't we go the blah blah blah. All of my coffee's wearing off, Steve. We're only half hour into the show. This ain't a good one, is it? Yeah.
I'm on the beer this week. It's a role reversal.
Yeah, it is. And you're still getting your words out, so you're doing better than me. See, this is what happens when I don't have the beer, mate. I just cannot function at all.
I must admit, I am getting tired. The long Sunday has taken it out of me. Busy day yesterday, hard day at work today. I was like, oof, sat here in a comfy chair with a beer. I'm just like...
You're going to be the one asleep soon, man. Maybe both of us. We're both just going to be knocked out. It's going to be a 12-hour show of silence.
Yeah, just a lot of snoring and fun.
Season pass is what I was going to talk about.
Yes.
Do they still? They didn't do it last year, but we're expecting them to do their €1 for the winter deal again, so we can watch testing for Euro because that would be great.
I hope so because they seem to always do a deal at the end of the year where you can get that winter testing package.
Yeah, it's usually like a Black Friday deal, isn't it?
Yeah, if I remember rightfully, 1 year it was like €16. Another year it was like €10, and then 1 year, like you said, they really went to town. It was €1,
Yeah,
which
if they
is
do it this year, I'm definitely going to get it.
yeah. I did have the timing pass, but that's expired now. I forgot about to renew it. I quite look at it like the timing screen, having that on while the race is on.
Yeah, I have used timing pass before to just listen to like the the commentators on the race. I did it when I've been abroad before and not been able to get to MotoGP. I've just had timing pass, so you're just watching the timing screen and listening to the commentary, which isn't the most exciting way to watch racing. I have to be honest.
No, it's pretty boring. It's like, oh, head fuck. All these lines and numbers and shit going
I
on.
struggle to stay awake as well because I've got nothing really to focus on. So I'm like, oh god, I could just nod off here, and then I've missed half the race.
It is very chilled. It's very sort of relaxing watching just a lot of numbers and then someone droll on, especially if it's Crayfar with his voice. Either
Yeah, exactly.
that bloke is like an ASMR bloody advert all over.
Just need to get him a nice microphone and get him to hold it really, really close to his mouth.
Yeah, 3 minutes and you're asleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Simon starts talking.
Every time he's like, fuck's sake, guys.
Yeah. Subscriber listens are through the roof. Not one of them is awake though.
Anyway, pre-season looks like this, Steve. Assuming this is all going to go ahead, but obviously it may well not because we're going to regions that we're not going to race in this year. January 31st, we're due for a 3-day test at Sepang. This is a shakedown test, so will only involve test riders and rookies. After that 3-day test, there is a 2-day entire grid test also at Sepang. February the 11th, so the following week, we have a 3-day test at Lombok. This is the Mandalika Street Circuit, and that is assuming the circuit is properly finished and all those people have been forcibly displaced from their homes. But the entire grid will be there. And then come March 6th, racing starts in Qatar for the earliest ever start of a MotoGP season.
I can't wait. Already looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. Me too, indeed. Carrying on with the news, Steve. We've got a couple more bits and then we'll get to the race review.
We seem to have a lot of news just recently. After a race, there seems to be a lot of news popping up, which we haven't had before. Last couple of seasons, it's been race, and that's it.
Yes, I know, and we're just getting longer shows because of it. I also wonder it's because whether we're just paying more attention to the news and not just talking about the race. We're like, let's actually build the entire picture here rather than get overexcited and just dive into talking about cars going around or bikes going around in circles.
Aye, cars go around behind safety cars.
Oh God, mate, Formula One. Okay, we're in the middle of 2 news items here. Formula One was a fucking joke at the weekend, Steve. Jesus, I cannot believe what a farcical attempt at a fucking race that was. It was just a travesty. The race should have been cancelled hours before it was. People should have been told to go home and not sit there for 4 hours in the fucking rain for the cars to eventually do 2 laps behind the safety car, and then the organisers go, yep, that was the race, job done, half points awarded, everyone can go home now. Just a joke.
I think that's amazing. I think it's absolutely brilliant. There's 2 really big F1 fans at work, and they were on opposite boats. One was on my boat, one was on the boat next door, and we rolled up at 7:00, and these guys were just at it all day, just pulling that weekend apart. It did not stop, and they were inside their respective boats, still having the conversation, just through the windows, which haven't been fitted yet. And I'm still on deck, going, "Will you shut the fuck up? These cars, they're crap."
It's a funny one, man, because I've had people that don't watch Formula One like text me, and I've had people talk to me that don't pay any attention to it. Like, what the fuck happened to the weekend? This is weird. Like, it's one of those ones that's so weird that it got into like the real news and everyone heard about it.
Yeah, it's a bit of not a bit, it's a very bizarre situation because what should have been quite an easy decision, obviously screwed with someone's head, became a very hard decision, and then led on to just this insane situation where somehow a race happened behind a safety car.
Yeah, well,
which
two laps of it.
yeah, that's not a race condition.
No, I know, it's fucking weird, mate. It's just a travesty. It's an absolute joke that it happened. And Formula One has got previous for this. We saw it when they cancelled the Australian race Friday morning, and this was obviously the 2020 Australia race, middle of COVID. And they cancelled the race the Friday morning when there were literally fans already queuing up to get into the circuit. Like, it's just a fucking joke. And they've got previous like this, and it's going to happen again. It's this new, not Bernie Ecclestone Formula One. And while I'm very pro Formula One being moving away from the weird vampire creature that is Bernie Ecclestone, it's just not ruled with the iron fist that it once was. It used to be what Bernie says goes, for better or worse, and a lot of the time that was for worse. But now that doesn't seem to happen. There's no iron fist guiding it. There's just people that are worried about, and a lot of this situation looked like, if we can call it a race, all the TV contracts are fulfilled. We don't owe anyone money. And Lewis Hamilton did say this during it, and he was urging the fans to get their money back from this race. But that would never have happened with Bernie, because Bernie would have just been like, we're not running the race and I'm not giving the money back. End of. Moving on.
Yeah. It's almost like you need a dictator in charge, a proper dictatorship. And like you say, rules with an iron fist. Go, no, this is happening. Someone who makes a decision. Someone should have made a decision at the start of the day, or start of what should have been the race, and gone, right, weather's crap, not happening.
Yeah, especially because there was a massive crash in qualifying because it was too wet. So they'd already seen it. And it's Spa, man. Like, Eau Rouge is a scary fucking corner at the best of times. Make it soaking wet and it's terrifying. Actually, speaking of Eau Rouge, did you see the terrifying W Series crash at the top of that corner?
No.
It'd be worth looking up, mate. You'll find a 30-second clip of it. It's just search, I don't know, W Series Spa crash. And this crash will come up. It was madness, man. Like, it's just 6 cars. There's just no way everyone should have walked away from it. Everyone was incredibly lucky, and it just goes to show the testament of how strong the cars are, really. But it was a scary crash, and that corner is just, you don't fuck about in those conditions with that.
No,
with that track.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're talking about scary crashes and medical situations. That leads us on nicely to your next note.
Literally, Steve, that was the smoothest segue, man. That was on point. You've just broken professional level podcasting there, man, because that was gold. I enjoyed that a lot, and I ruined it all by pointing it out. So let's move on.
Seamless link. There's the echo of the words of Mr. Moyles. Chris Moyles, that is, if anyone doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, that's a fair point, actually. That was probably a mildly dated reference that only people who got up early in the UK would understand.
Yeah, so basically Chris Moyles was a breakfast radio presenter in the early 2000s, I would say.
Yeah, well, into the 10s, I think. 2010s
Maybe
as well.
in the 10s, yeah. But he was quite big. He was known for being very brash, not rude, but out there, pushed the boundary, didn't he?
I never really liked him, to be honest. But then I didn't really, at those days, get up that early, so I didn't really have to know about his existence.
Yeah, see, back then I started work at 5, so I was like, yeah, that was just on. And I didn't really like anyone else on at that time in the morning. That was just like Chris Moyles or nothing. So, but one of his sayings was like, because they were pretty much like us, they just made shit up as they went along. So if they ever got something right, there was just like a big round of applause and like just screaming out of seamless link, and just pointing out their unprofessionalism. That's what we've just done.
And this was a BBC host as well that was paid a bomb for it, so
Yes, but that's how he made his unique style, very similar to ours, is what made him his money.
Yeah, exactly. One day we'll make that kind of money. Don't get your hopes up, mate, when that's not happening. But yes, MotoGP medical safety has been once again brought into question. So I didn't realise this had actually happened until after the race even. But Marc Marquez had a huge crash in FP1. And he was past fit to compete. Everything's good to go. In FP2, he went out, he did FP2, but he did say afterwards that there was water streaming out of his eyes. He couldn't really concentrate because it was uncomfortable. I imagine it must have been a bit blurry as well. And then after the session, he had to go to hospital to get his eyes cleaned out. Now, how the fuck did Marc Marquez once again get past fit to be on track when he's clearly not fit to be on track? The cunt couldn't see. Like, how the fuck was he told, yeah, you're good, go on around? And actually brought to the point, how did he get around the track? Like, it's madness, but it's just weird because who do we blame for this? Is it Honda's fault? Is it Marquez's family? Is it Marquez himself that are going to let this happen again? Does this come down to the on-track medical team? Like, someone isn't doing their fucking job with any rider, let alone Marc Marquez, who oh my God, the last few years has had some serious bad advice when it comes to medical things.
It's very weird, isn't it? The first I heard of it was when they said he wasn't going to do his press conference or debrief after free practice 2, so at the end of Friday, and then he'd gone off to hospital because we saw Quartararo have his pretty hefty crash as well, but he did do his. So it started asking questions why Marquez wasn't doing his. And then it all came to light about he had something in his eye. But yeah, you're right. How the hell, if that guy couldn't have seen anything? If, we all know what it's like to get something in your eye. You wake up in the morning with an eyelash in it. It's fucking painful. We're going to sit on the sofa for an hour. We're not going to go ride a 200 mile an hour motorbike around the track.
Well, that's it. I mean, you've definitely, I know I've done it. I'm sure you've done it. Driven with like a car and you've got a bit in your eye and it's fucking uncomfortable. It's hard to see the road. Like it's a chore. Imagine trying to do fucking 200 miles an hour around Silverstone like that on a motorbike.
Oh, mate, I ride old bikes, as you know, and I've ridden with open face helmets and just a pair of sunnies on, and you get a bit of grip or a bit like a bug hit you in on a cheek, and something flick up in your eyes under your sunnies. Agony, mate. I cannot see a thing.
Yeah.
So how the hell he was declared fit to go out and do that? It's just a travesty. That was just an accident waiting to happen. He's lucky he got away in the crash.
Yeah, quite.
That was a big, big crash. I saw the replay of that while I was at work. I was like, Jesus, that's lucky. But then to go out and risk it all in FP2, because he would have known he had something in his eye.
Definitely, he knew about it, man.
Yeah, and he should have known better. It's like ignorance and stupidity on his part, as much as anyone else. So, we can't fully blame the medical team or the track staff. Some blame has to come down to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Steve, as we saw in the race, the man is not hasn't got the best judgment at the moment.
No, he has not. We'll get on to that. Yeah, crazy. I think there's definitely a review of medical safety going to come after this year.
There has to be, doesn't there? Like, there's something that's not working at the moment.
No. I think it's probably pressure at the minute to get riders on track because of what happened last year.
Yeah.
That is forcing a lot of people's hands. So, but at some point, someone's got to turn around and say, no, we're going to lose these guys through injury, and then letting them go out and race is just going to cause havoc. And it's not just themselves; they've got the potential to kill or like seriously injure 21 other people.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like, do you remember when Ben Spies quit and he said, like, I can't, my shoulders are not strong enough anymore. He's like, I cannot control the bike and I'm going to career into someone and I'm going to hurt someone. So I've got to quit. And that, and it's such a different thing from, well, my eyes are uncomfy. I can't really see, but I'm going to go out and do this FP2 session anyway. Like, it's just such a different mindset.
You've got to be 100%. You cannot be anything but 100% to ride these bikes. If you can avoid injury by sitting out a session or just go into the medical center and get yourself looked at, do it. There's a certain amount of pride here as well. I think Marquez probably thought, right, I could go well at this track. I'm going to take the win here. I'm going to race no matter what. At some point, you've got to turn around and say, actually, I need to go see the doc. You need to get this looked at. But it's probably just that little risk, that 1% that says, what if they declare me unfit? And I can't race?
That's fair. And to be fair, Marquez has already almost lost his career due to injuries and with his eyes before. So, like, maybe that is part of it, mate. Maybe there is part of a small denial that's like, I can't get this checked out because what if?
Yeah, we've all done it. I mean, I'm guilty as anyone. Typical man. I will not go to the doctors until like it's pouring with blood. Rest of the time it's just a bandage and a bit of duct tape. That'll stop. I'll be fine.
Eventually it'll stop.
Yeah.
But have you taken the rusty nail out? Shit, no. Was I supposed to do that?
No. We left that in. That'll be fine. I've had my tetanus. It'll be fine.
Yeah, quite. But yes, I think you're right. There's going to have to be a review of something soon. We're not the only people talking about this, man. There's loads of people talking about this now.
Yeah.
So
it's a big topic right now. Yeah, it's a huge topic.
Right, Steve. The last bit of news then is Tom Luthi is finally retiring from racing.
He seems to have been around forever.
I mean, he won his 125 championship in 2005.
Long time ago.
Yeah, so, he's been on the grid for a long, long time. But he's also not leaving the paddock. He is to become the sporting director for the Prustel, this will be now the Moto3 team.
Yes.
I don't actually know what a sporting director does, Steve, but it's a good job title and it sounds important. So good for him.
Yes, yeah, I'm not really sure because this is a sport, so I would
Yeah,
assume.
is he the director of sport? I don't know. I don't know how. He's not a team principal, but he's doing something within the team. I assume it would be something to do with probably the riders. He's going to have obviously a really good idea of what it's like to be a rider. So whether it's just managing riders and dealing with their problems while they, other directors do other shit.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It's a great job title. It's a great position to have. So good on him. Good luck.
Either way, going to look great on his CV.
Yes, I went straight from a rider's job to a sporting director's job. Golden.
Yeah, exactly. I bet he's taken a pay cut though.
I bet he's taken quite a pay cut, but still, even after all this time in the Premier class, he's not going to need the money.
Well, you say all this time. He was only in the Premier class for a year.
Yeah, true. But he's been what I mean by Premier class is the pinnacle of motorcycle racing.
Yeah, he's been in the Grand Prix paddock for
Yeah.
a very, very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not going to need the money, and he's now going to a cracking job. He's going to stay within the industry which he knows and obviously loves.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, he's going to still be in the paddock. He's going to be hanging out with all the same people. He's going to know all the same people. He's going to have really good connections. He's going to be a really useful guy in that job, I'm sure.
Yeah, do we reckon he's going to forget and turn up with his leathers on the first day of the job?
And be like, why am I on a Moto3 bike? They're like, you're not, mate. You're a sporting director now. Shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, fuck. What do I need?
Yeah, he's like, well, I've got my kit bag. Is that enough? Like briefcase, kit bag.
That's what I'd be like. It's when you lie on your CV and still get the job, isn't it?
Yeah,
like,
mate.
oh,
The
shit.
amount of times I've done that, chatted shit to get a job, and you get it, and you're like, I've literally no idea what I'm doing here, and I've really got to learn quickly.
Yeah. I basically did it with this job. Build boats, yeah, fine.
You're like, yeah, I can probably do that. We'll get on with it. That'll be fine.
Yeah, boat, sail, fucking fine, great.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a few bits of wood nailed together, pole up the middle, bit of cloth, job done.
Yeah, blowing it. Goes. Sorted. Go tell my boss.
Yeah, like, yep, I'll take a pay rise. That's your yacht done in 3 hours flat.
Yes.
So, Steve, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we will dive into a brief overview of the Moto2 and Moto3 race and then into our full MotoGP race review.
Let's do it, buddy.
Good stuff. Bear with us one moment, guys, and we will be right back with you. Thank you all very much for bearing with us there, guys. We are back and we are here with our quick recap of the top 5 finishers in Moto3 and Moto2. Starting with Moto3, 5th place was Tatsuki Suzuki, who we've seen in and about the top 5 for most of the season, really. And most of, actually, his career. He's just kind of floated about, had a few good races, a few shit ones back and forth.
Yes.
Izan Guevara finished 4th. Now, this is exciting. Izan Guevara won the... did he win the Junior World Championship last year and Pedro Acosta won the Red Bull Rookies, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's that way around. And he was coming in touted to be as good as Pedro Acosta. And obviously, it's taken him a little while to get up to speed, but it's been a very good progression. I think probably by next season, maybe by the end of this season, he'll be making the final step up to the podium and winning races.
Aye.
3rd place was Dennis Foggia. 2nd place, Niccolo Antonelli. There we go. There's a stalwart who we haven't spoken about in a while.
He's there. He's back.
Yeah, exactly. And 1st place is one Romano Fenati, who I don't really have a lot to say about. I'm not really fussed on Fenati either way. I don't really care.
No, I'm a bit lost on Fenati. He's obviously a sound rider. He's a very good rider, but antics.
On his day, he's unstoppable. Like on his day,
Yeah.
he's because most of his wins in Moto3 have just come from some of the biggest Moto3 wins we've ever seen. He just pulls the gap and goes. But on his day, he's got the field in his pocket, no problem at all. But he
Absolutely.
just behaves like a twat sometimes.
Yeah, just the inner child comes out. Just the rush of blood is insane, and all of a sudden just goes nuts. I just can't fathom it. It's just bizarre.
And he's one of the oldest guys on the Moto3 grid, I think. He's like 25, 26, something like that.
He must be now because he just seems to have been there forever.
So the title battle was really taking place in Moto3 at the bottom end of the points, really. Pedro Acosta finished 11th and Sergio Garcia finished 16th.
I
There's now
know.
46 points between the two of them at the top of the standings.
Yeah, weird scenario to think like both title contenders really were so far down the order, but we were watching them like fly past. It was like trying to keep up because there were big groups of them. I was like, where is he? There he is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an odd one. I guess it shows as well, Silverstone, obviously, we didn't go to Silverstone last year, and it's a long circuit. It's quite a complicated circuit. And look at the guys who are on the podium, Romano Finati, Niccolo Antonelli, who I'm sure must be in the top two for like Moto3 starts. Like those guys know the bikes, know the tracks. Dennis Foggia's been there a while now, so it's experienced heads are what really paid off here.
Yeah, definitely. But it's opened up the point. Well, not opened up the points gap. It's made the point gap interesting now. So we will see what comes at Aragon. Let's say.
Yes, exactly.
See where these guys finish. So Pedro Acosta, as we mentioned loads in the past, he's got to win it. Has to win it.
Well, I don't know, man. 46 points ahead now at the top. He's fucking fine, and as long as he keeps finishing ahead of Garcia and just keeps scoring points. If he can be in the top 5 for the rest of the season, he's pretty much done it, I think.
Pretty much, but another string of results like around 11th place, and all you need is Garcia to have like a podium or two.
And Garcia's taken a lot of wins this year. Garcia has been fast.
Yeah, it's still got potential to close right up, but we'll see. It's almost championship done.
Yeah, well, it feels like that in most of the classes at the moment, to be fair.
It does this year, yeah.
Moto2 was a lot like this. By a lot like this, I mean exactly like this. Fabio Di Gianantonio finished 5th, followed by Sam Lowes, who was 4th. Jorge Navarro, who is a name we haven't said for a while, man, finished on the podium in 3rd on the... Is he still on the Boscoscuro?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And then Marco Bezzecchi was in 2nd. Remy Gardner, once again, class of the field, finishing in 1st. Raul Fernandez crashed out of the race, handing Remy a massive advantage in the points as well. He's now 4 points ahead. But that's the closest gap we have in the paddock at the moment. It's the 44 points for Moto2.
It is. Yeah, it's weird as well. At this point in the championship, we're normally talking about a much closer gap. So this year we've seen sort of runaway leaders.
Yeah.
It's quite odd, but quite refreshing at the same time.
Yeah, that's fair. So then, Steve, here it is. The crown jewel.
The crown jewel.
MotoGP.
Here we go.
Before we get into it properly, Steve, do you notice the old F1 sponsorship on the grassy sections?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, could you see it while you were there, or was it just something that it was on a few sections when you watched on the TV later?
We didn't really see it. You had to sort of... It's a big track, and to get all the way around it, you can't get close enough really to see it in places. But yeah, we didn't really see much of it until we got back and watched it on the telly.
Okay. But yes, this really tickled me.
Yeah, if you went looking for it, you could see it.
Okay, it's all the Pirelli sponsorship and stuff, but it was just sponsorship. It was a bit like when you see like an old BT van or an old Post van driving around where they've clearly removed the vinyls, but in the right light, you can still see it fine.
That's it. The paintwork's faded, except under the sticker.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what this looked like. It was a bit shit. I can't believe they'd done it. And a couple of ones, there was a big Pirelli logo that they'd like tried to scrub out and couldn't quite. So just put a smaller Michelin logo over it, but you can still see the Pirelli bits either side.
Yeah, it was very weird. Very, very weird. But there was several of those dotted around, different sponsorships that they haven't got rid of and different names that you sort of, whoa, that's old.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they just couldn't be bothered.
Well, I think that's probably part of it.
Yeah, it's like, well, we've got another sponsor. Fuck it. You know, these guys are going to chuck us a little bit of money as well. We'll keep the name out there.
Yeah, quite. That's the one. So for the order of the teams this week, Steve, as we go through them, it was tough to pick an order. Like normally it's quite easy, isn't it? We look at them, we go, well, that team clearly performed, or that manufacturer clearly performed best, that manufacturer clearly performed worse. But it really wasn't easy this week. Well, with Yamaha finishing first and then the last 3 spots, it automatically made it quite a difficult thing to do. So in the end, Steve, I gave up trying to work it out, and thankfully for us, for the first time in MotoGP history ever, the top 6 spots were filled by 6 different manufacturers. Golden.
Awesome.
So we just did it that way. So the guy in 6th was Brad Binder. So we'll talk about KTM first.
Let's go for it. We did send several messages last night, didn't we? Just like, how the hell are we going to discuss this?
Yeah, it was just a lot of back and forth of just, Steve, I don't know what to do with it, man. And the idea is, not a clue. And we managed to get there in the end. We sort of settled on this one.
Yeah, I think I did suggest at one point we just spoke about the riders in their finishing order, but then, like you pointed out, we probably just skip over a few.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. And we
yeah,
used to do that, to be fair, didn't we? That's how we used to do the show. And
mm,
it was just a lot of drivel, a lot of time. We spent a lot of time ranting about the riders at the back and not much time talking about the guys at the front.
yeah, we did. We ended up giving the guys at the back more time because we were just jabbering on about them and how bad they were.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny, isn't it? How
Uh,
bad they were. Awful. The 20th best motorcycle rider in the world. What a dick. Terrible.
yeah, useless. Get him off the grid.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, KTM then, Steve. Let's go with
Right.
Tech 3 first. Danilo Petrucci qualified 16th, finished the race in 10th. I don't have a lot to say here, actually, except it feels like quite a solid result for Petrucci, really.
It does, yeah. Yeah, watching him blast past, he was constantly sort of making ground on other people and just looked good, looked comfortable. Never really like falling back. Good race for him.
Good stuff. And then his teammate in Iker Lecuona qualified 18th, finished the race in 7th. A
Had a good
really
race.
fucking good race from Lecuona. I think probably his best MotoGP weekend to date.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering he's out of a ride next year, he did himself a power of good. Really good weekend for him and has made a strong case. Whatever ride he gets next year, he has done himself a world of good.
Yeah, certainly. It's just a shame, isn't it, that he wasn't performing this well at the start of the year, because I think he'd still be on a Tech 3 KTM if he had.
I think you're right, mate. I can't disagree with you. But like I say, such a shame it's taken him this long to get up to speed. What's going to happen now? He'll probably go on a bit of a tear for himself.
I imagine he will. I mean, there's talks, isn't there, of World Superbike contracts and stuff for him,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I've said it before, Steve. I think I'd rather see him get a shot on the Petronas Yamaha than Dovi get that shot now. But at the same time, I understand Dovi brings sponsorship with him. Dovi's an Italian name. They've got a big Italian sponsor. Like and he's getting factory bikes. There's reasons for Razlan Razali's team to have Dovi, but I don't know, man. From just a pure sporting point of view and a spectator point of view, I think I'd have preferred to see Lecuona on that bike.
Yeah, I completely agree. But it's not to be. So, well, it doesn't look like it's going to be so far. So he'll get a ride somewhere. He'll get a good ride somewhere. Just not in MotoGP, I don't think.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm with you on that one.
Right.
So that's the factory boys then, Steve. Miguel Oliveira qualified 20th, finished the race in 16th. Didn't appear to be anywhere all weekend, man. It was a terrible weekend. What the fuck is going on with Oliveira at the moment?
Don't know, mate. Can't put the finger on it at all. He just didn't see him anywhere in the race, didn't see him anywhere all weekend. Look, it's qualified. Awful. I honestly expected all of the KTMs to do better around here. But I don't know. Like you put in the notes, is that hand injury still bothering him?
I mean, it was a big injury, so I'd guess the pain would still be there. I think he has been talking about painkillers and having it strapped up and stuff, and maybe that is a big part of it. I mean, he's trying to ride a fucking MotoGP bike with a broken hand, mate. Like, I broke my hand and I ain't even playing PlayStation. Like, so
No.
it's
exactly. It's got to still be bothering him, and you carry all your upper body weight for your wrist, your forearm, and your hand on one of these things. Look at the braking zones. That's got to be excruciating. So I would say it's definitely a factor. It's a massive factor in hindering his race performance at the minute.
Yeah. His teammate, on the other hand, Brad Binder, qualified 12th, finished in 6th. Top KTM again, and a classic Binder style race, wasn't it? Much like the Suzuki's, really. Qualified badly, and then fucking come Sunday, tear through the field like a boss.
If he'd have qualified just a little bit better and got off the line a little bit better, we could have been looking at a different story altogether. It could have been challenging for the podium, but it still had a great race to come home in 6th.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And it was a result for him at the end. And he managed to make it, as we've said, Steve, 6 manufacturers in the top 6 spots.
Exactly.
Let's move it on then, Steve, to the next factory in the list, and it is Honda, courtesy of Pol Espargaro's 5th place. But before we get on to Pol and the Repsol boys, let's talk about Taka Nakagami and Alex Marquez with LCR quickly.
Let's go for them.
Alex Marquez then qualified 17th, finished the race in 8th. It was pretty good, actually, to see him performing well again in the race. He looked comfortable, and I think he actually looks the most comfortable I've ever seen him on a MotoGP bike. He's not like the gangly monster he was last year, all elbows and knees. He now looks comfortable on the bike. He looked good on the bike, and actually I think this could be the start of a return to form for Alex Marquez.
Yeah, I think you're right. Watching him go round, he looked good on the bike. He looked like he got it set to himself now. He actually looked part of the bike, whereas before he looked like he'd just been parked on it.
Yeah.
Watching him go round, we were the middle of a smaller straight, and then it sort of led onto a series of corners, and he looked comfortable. Not at any point did he look, like you say, gangly, hanging off the thing. He looked streamlined on this bike, and it was quite refreshing to see him comfortable.
Yes.
So hopefully now, if they've got this thing sorted, we can see, like you say, a return to form, and he will start having some good results again.
Did he get a podium at Aragon last year?
Yes, I believe that was his podium, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Le Mans and Aragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, coming into a good race for him next, hopefully this was a springboard for maybe a triumphant return to the podium. Oh, my God. I would really be stoked to see a double Marquez podium, actually. Oof. I think Alex Marquez would be a good sleeper pick for the Fantasy League.
I think you could be right. I think just to crank some points up there would be really good. Just a little solid
cheap
bet.
Points, I imagine.
Very cheap points. I don't know how much he costs in the Fantasy League now, but they bounce around all the time. But yeah, you could probably have change to spare.
Yes, I would imagine so. His teammate then, Taka Nakagami, I'll be honest, I don't have a huge amount to say here. Taka qualified 15th, finished the race in 13th. We didn't really see much of him. I know he was battling with Alex for a little while, but it was nothing too dramatic. He battled with Rossi for a little while, but again, nothing too dramatic.
No, just circulated, just had another solid weekend. Didn't crash, qualified, or finished the race higher than he qualified. Took some big scalps. Just a standard, shall we say, Taka performance.
Yeah, exactly. He also did very well at Aragon last year, didn't he? In fact, he probably should have won one of those races, the Teruel GP. So,
he should have done, yes. So hopefully, come next weekend, we might see some LCR boys, or Indomitsu as well, closer to the pointy end.
Yes, I mean, it could be a Honda route next week, actually, when you think about it. We know Marc Marquez has in the past been incredible around Aragon. We know the Honda has always been very good around Aragon, so we expect Pole to do something. It could be a good one for Honda.
It could well be. Can you imagine if we have both Marquez brothers and, let's say, Pole on the podium? That would be,
quite incredible, wouldn't it? Or Taka. Taka's never had a podium. It would be nice to see him up there.
Yeah, whatever way. 3 Hondas on the podium and a 4th place. How good would that be?
Yeah.
Lock out the top 4 places.
So then let's get into the Repsol Honda boys, Steve. Let's start with Pol Espargaro. I've got a lot I want to say about Marquez, so we'll go Pol Espargaro first. Oh my God, what a weekend from Pol, mate. Qualified on pole position, 5th in the race. Best weekend he's had since joining Repsol Honda by a mile.
An absolute treat, mate, to see. Again, looked completely different. Just did not look like the Pole we've been used to seeing. Well, we haven't seen, because he's been so far back down the order, the cameras just haven't bothered with him.
Yeah.
All of a sudden he's taking pole position, qualifying doing really well in practice, and just looking incredible.
Yeah, so it was a really good one for him. Yeah, there's a lot of people saying in there that the grip and the track temperature really suited his riding style this weekend. And he was saying that himself. He was saying that he really enjoyed these conditions, but a lot of people didn't. He's like, normally when it's the other way around, people enjoy the conditions. I'm not very good. So, let's not get our hopes up too much about Pole, but we know, like we said, the Honda has form at Aragon, so he could do something. It's amazing to think, though, this was Honda's first pole position since Nakagami last year, and it's actually Repsol Honda's first non-Marquez pole position since Danny Pedrosa in 2017, man.
That's crazy, isn't it? When you start looking at stats like that and you think in 2017, 4 years ago, that somebody other than Marquez has taken pole position. Yeah. It's just nuts.
And we've seen big names on that bike as well. Jorge Lorenzo was on that bike for a while. Stefan Bradl was on that bike for a while. Is it madness, man?
It is madness. It just goes to show how hard the bike is to tame, how well Marquez has done. I know we've said it all before. But, it's nice. It is nice to see somebody other than Marc Marquez on that bike take a pole position.
Yes, definitely. It was also really nice just to see Pol Espargaro fighting for the lead. I mean, he was literally fighting with Aleix Espargaro, his brother, for the lead for a while. They were 1-2 in the early laps, which was a strange thing to be looking at, Steve. I didn't think I was going to see that this year.
No, I don't think anyone did. Did you see their spat in, I think it was practice?
I saw a brief clip of it. Was this Paulo Spargaro getting in the way of a Leish
Yeah.
during a fast run?
Yeah, just a Leif was on the racing line, full tilt, and Pole was just there dawdling.
Oh god,
Obviously
that's
didn't.
probably an awkward family dinner.
Yeah, I think they got over it pretty quickly. But you know what Aleix is like? He's not shy of gesturing at someone, and even his brother got it.
Yeah, it's good to know though, because he was very. I did think when he was trying to pass his brother on a few occasions, they were very, very generous with each other. There was a lot of room. There was no fairing bashing going on between them.
No, there could have been. There was definitely some sit-ups where they were like, "Oh, right, yeah, that's my brother." Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
Because we know these guys are close, very close, even for brothers. So yeah, you imagine that conversation afterwards if they wiped each other out, just like,
Oh god, from the lead as well, from first and second. Can you imagine? It really would have been awful.
oh, I can imagine that walk back to the pits. Jesus,
Yeah.
that'd been absolutely amazing. I'd love to
When
see
you get
it.
like a phone call from your mom, you're like, oh shit, I'm in trouble.
Yeah. Oh, fuck's sake. You get that. Yeah, dressing down for your mum. You two behave.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that'd be
Um,
great.
Someone that needs dressing down, Steve, is one Mark Marquez. Mark
Needs a
Marquez.
slap.
Christ, man. So he qualified in fifth, did not finish the race. To be
No.
fair, he looked pretty good all weekend. He was pretty
He
fast.
did.
And aside from the big crash, looked good. And obviously the FP2, I'm going to go out even though I can't see properly. And then we came to the race, Steve. And he wiped out Jorge Martin in just this weird, ridiculous crash. Obviously, Martin had overtaken him in a rough manner, but it was fine. It was just a bit of fair and rubbing.
Racing incident.
Yep. And Marquez has been done way more egregious overtakes than that in his career.
Hasn't he
So that
just?
was fine. But then a couple of corners later, Martin did run a little wide, but Marquez dived for the inside line, man. He was a long way back. And before they'd made contact, he'd lost the front. And then he just wiped Martin out with him. It's just, there's a lot of speculation about how ridiculous the move is, because it really was ridiculous, man. And no investigation, no nothing.
Nothing. Absolute nothing, which is a farce. Obviously, I didn't see it live. Didn't have a big screen on the other side of the track. We just heard he'd taken him out, so we had to wait to see it.
Okay.
We could hear a little bit of the commentary, so we knew that Marquez had taken out Martin. It wasn't until I got home and we watched it, I was like, whoa, actually, hang on. That was a silly, silly move. You cannot race like that.
Yeah.
It just seemed like a childish move, just because Martin had a little punt up the inside of him. He just saw an opportunity to give it back, and it all went horribly wrong.
Yeah, it was. That's exactly how it looked, I think, to me too. It was just a bit of rush of blood to the head, a bit pissed off. I'm still the master. You are literally a rookie. Do not do that to me. Oh, shit.
Yeah. He did, to be fair to him, he did apologise all over social media. He did go and see Martin.
And he spoke to the Pramac crew, didn't he? He spoke
Yeah.
to the boss and stuff. So he did do the right things afterwards. And it wasn't with his helmet on. He did keep the helmet off and do it all properly. But I don't know, man. It was stupid. And it's now 6 crashes in 8 races for Mark Marquez.
I know. That's a lot of lost points. Imagine where he could be in the championship if he had finished all of those 6 races.
I mean, that's a fair point. Even with points in all of them, like, he'd probably be in quite calm. Where is he at the minute? 12th at the minute on 59 points. Say he averaged 10 points a race, he'd be up in like 5th.
Exactly. That's nuts. After the year, what he's come back from, to suddenly be even in the position he is, let alone to speculate and say he's finished these 6 races and got 60 points. To be 5th is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
So
it would be mad. But I don't know. This whole season now is feeling a bit like 2015 to me, man. Like, we know in 2015, if he couldn't win a race, he was crashing. And he was crashing trying to win. And then we saw him in 2016, 17, 18, 19 be very good at, I can't win this race, so I'm just going to finish second. It feels like he's gone back to that 2015 Marc Marquez, but he's not as fast as the 2015 Marc Marquez either. So he's having less opportunities to go and win races.
I think that's part of the problem as well. He realises that. So when he does see an opportunity, he's going to take it even more and risk it. So with moves like this as well, if he does get punted or someone to stick an elbow into him, he's going to give it back. Because I think the old Marquez would have been like, well, I'm faster than you anyway, so it doesn't matter. In a lap, I'll get you and I'll be gone. Now he realises that he can't necessarily do that. So when he does get punted, it's more of a revengeful return punt with a lot more malice and intent in it. So, yeah, I think he's going to have to be quite careful, because if they start bringing back penalty points like we've seen in the past, his copybook is going to be well blotted.
Yes, mate, it certainly will be. And it just feels weird, doesn't it? Just the whole behaviour at the minute with him. Like, I'm still expecting him to challenge for the title next year.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's still showing flashes of speed and stuff, but it's just been a bit shit.
He has, yeah.
It's not him, just the whole scenario is just shit.
It is, yeah. You look at that whole series of events that happened this weekend, qualifying 5th on a fast track, which you know the Honda can go well around, respectable. Everyone was impressed. Everyone was like, he's going to challenge here for the win. And just to pull that move off, there's guys sat behind us in the stands, like talking about it before the race. I was like, I don't care who wins this, as long as it's St. Marquez. And he's just fueling that kind of rage.
Yeah, it certainly is. This behaviour is certainly doing that. And there's a lot of people, because he's always been very aggressive, there's a lot of people now being like, see, we told you he was too much. And arguably at this point in time, they're right.
Yeah. It's hard to defend. It's really hard to defend. And I don't think anyone will.
No, certainly not successfully.
No. Can you imagine trying to be something like a defence lawyer for him at the minute? You just be like, fucking hell.
You'd be like, we'll get a plea deal. We'll just take a plea deal.
Yeah, take the 10 years, you'll be fine. Take the 10 years, you'll be out before you know it.
Yeah, exactly. Did you notice after his crash, his bike was just propped up on a barrier for the entire race?
Yeah, did you notice other bits missing by the end of it?
Was there?
No, I'm making that up.
Oh, I thought... I was like, shit, this is a story. I'm expecting you to hold off a fairing now.
I got the whole bike here, mate.
God, that would be incredible. Imagine how much you could sell that for.
Oh, you imagine how much, the race thought they had some inside info into the goings on of a Ducati. Watch this.
Yeah, exactly.
Switch over to our YouTube channel now to watch Steve pulling a Repsol Honda apart.
Oh my good lord. Can you imagine all of these MotoGP engineers being like, no, just as you're pulling bits off it.
Little knock at my door, like, little Repsol Honda representative. Oh, hello.
Every Dorner again, mate. You'll be getting us banned off Instagram.
That happens quite regularly.
Right, let's move it on to Ducati, shall we?
Let's go.
So we're talking about Ducati now, thanks to Jack Miller's 4th place. But we'll start with Luca Marini and Bastianini, because as per usual, not a huge amount to say about these two boys. Marini qualified 14th, finished the race in 15th. And Bastianini qualified 13th, finished the race in 12th. Nice, they both got some points. And I guess for Bastianini, nice the bike stayed together, but
yes,
nothing too exciting for either.
No, nothing outlandish, just a solid race. One thing I will say, though, that MotoGP VR46 bike in the flesh, oh my good God, is that good looking?
Yeah?
It's seriously good, yeah. I was really impressed. And I've spoken about this a bit already, but when you see the bikes in the flesh, that thing comes flying by, and it looks completely different to the Moto2, Moto3 bikes, obviously. But the colours look different. It came flying by. I was like, oh. And it was really easy to pick out.
Okay, nice. That's really what you want at it.
Yeah, you could tell from a mile off which bike it was coming. It was like, oh, that's nice.
Good stuff. That's what we like to hear, Steve, because I've never really gone too much for that one. It's not been my favourite of the bikes at all. So I'm glad in person it looks a bit better.
In fact, that reminds me. So I was meant to send you something, which I will send you after the race. It's just after we've finished recording. I will just put my phone back down. I was going to send it to you now, but then realised I can't.
It's okay, mate. I think my phone's on airplane mode anyway, so nothing would have come through. Okay. So the Pramac boys, Steve, we'll go Jorge Martin first. We know how his race ended, obviously in the gravel with Marquez mounting him. Well, sort of mounting Marquez, actually. Anyway, someone was being mounted by someone. Who knows? A lot of leather involved. A lot of leather and helmets involved. And a big rumbling beast beneath the leg. No, okay, I'm stopping. Jorge Martin qualified 4th and did not finish the race. Solid qualifying. Oh my God. Imagine what he'd be doing if he hadn't missed those 4 races or 6 races or whatever it was. He's really coming into his own on this Ducati.
Oh, just a bit, mate. He is starting to look like the real deal now. We know he's got a ride for next year. Like I say, he looks like he's absolutely 100% over that injury now,
Yeah.
or injuries,
Yes.
several. He just looks good. Every time he gets on that bike now, I'm just like looking at him thinking, right, where's he going to qualify? Where is he going to finish? Whereas in the past, you look at a Pramac rider, you're like, it'll be middle of the field. This
Yeah,
guy's the real
exactly.
deal. He is on for many good things. He will be on a factory team soon. Someone's going to swipe him up.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Ducati will put him on the factory bike. I mean, he is, although he's not doing as well in the championship as either Bagnaia or Miller, you would argue that probably he's looking like he's got more potential than both riders. So I think unless something crazy happens with Ducati next year, we're going to be seeing a battle between Miller and Bagnaia for who keeps their seat. And I think chances are it'll be Bagnaia, but, I really love Jack Miller, so I kind of hope it's him too.
Yeah, we'll see what next year brings. If there's no seat there, one of the other manufacturers will definitely be keeping a sharp eye on him. So he's got
KTM. Yeah, KTM have already lost him. I'm sure Ducati aren't going to do the same thing.
No, they will take note of that, and they're not going to be dumb enough to repeat KTM's madness. So whatever happens, this boy, his future in MotoGP is sealed. He'll be fine for many years to come.
Yeah, exactly. Now, did you see the bit in qualifying where he obviously finished a second and a half faster than the entire field? He was on pole position all the time in screens. Everyone's looking at it being like, that he didn't pull a second and a half in the second sector. What the fuck is going on here? But it stayed and it stayed and it stayed. And he pulls into pit lane and there they are waving him into Parc Fermé to be like, you've got pole position. And he had to stop and tell them. He's like, nah, I cut the chicane so I could, get onto the back of everyone else to try and get a slipstream for the final lap. He's like, I didn't get pole position. That lap needs to be deleted. And they're like, no, you got pole position. Get in. He was like, nah, I didn't get pole position. I'm off to my garage.
Yeah, I saw it pop up, and even the commentators were like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And we saw the replay. But yeah, you're right. We like the camera cut to shots of the crew in the pit. And they were just stood there going, well, this isn't right.
Well, they all knew, didn't they? You could see on their faces. They were like, nah, he's done something here. There's no way he's gone a second and a half faster than everyone else. Not a chance.
No, they just didn't react. They just stood there like, yeah, he's cut the corner somewhere.
Yeah.
But like I say, it stayed for an age. It took an absolute age for the timing tower to change. And then finally, you got the lap cancelled, come across the bottom of the screen, and it all changed. And obviously, he was back in the pits, and everyone else just calmed down.
Yeah, exactly.
But a weird thing that it took so long for a transponder box to register it.
Well, I think, the transponder box obviously didn't, because he did cut the corner, yes, but he cut the corner in a weird place. So the transponders just thought he was going quick. So it took human eyes to look at that and be like, okay, this is what he did.
Yeah, it's still quite funny.
Yes, it was great. Someone that didn't have a great weekend, though, is his teammate, Johan Zarco.
No.
Qualified 9th, finished the race in 11th. Worst weekend of the year. Certainly worst qualifying of the season. And I know he's crashed and scored 0 points in a couple of rounds, but this just felt worse than that because he just never had the pace.
Yeah, I think sometimes if you crash out, it's a little bit of a saving grace sometimes. Whereas if you just circulate and cannot make up the time, yes, you finish at the race and you've got points, but it just shows you're struggling.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'll get my words out in a sec. I had him picked to be like in the top 5, top 8. I thought with his form that we've seen in the past, he would go well around here.
And I mean, he's been going well all season, so it made perfect sense for him to carry on going well, but it wasn't to be,
Not this weekend. Everyone has a bad day. Everyone has a bad day at the office. And this was just his. Whether he cooked his tyres early, maybe he made the wrong tyre choice, just didn't like the cooler temperatures. Who knows? Everyone was saying how cool it was, and I can confirm it's bloody freezing there. Just something didn't match up this weekend. And like you said, very poor result for him. Very poor. But we got Aragon next to see what he does.
Well, exactly. I mean, he got lucky in the championship fight in a way, because both Mir and Bagnaia also suffered. In fact, he gained points on Bagnaia, and Mir would have gained a few points on both of them. Quartararo is well out of reach now. There's no way. Well, it's highly unlikely Zarco's will be fighting for the title. But he could still arguably be fighting for second in the championship as long as he doesn't have more weekends like this. Yeah,
he needs to really have some solid weekends. Stay away from any kind of trouble, incident. Just have a good, clean race. Do not put unless you can handle it.
Yeah,
but just get some solid results, get some solid points in there.
Yes, exactly. That brings us nicely, Steve, onto the factory duo then. Francesco Bagnaia is first here. He qualified second, finished the race in 14th, Steve. He looked absolutely solid going into the race. He looked like he didn't have the outright pace of Quartararo, but he could have got in amongst it using the Ducati's power, get in the way of Quartararo, and try and slow them down a little. And that probably would have worked. Well, could have worked. But nah, he said he had a bad front tyre. He was losing 3 seconds a lap towards the end of the race, and he just dropped like a stone, man. It was not a good result for him at all.
No, I mean, sitting there watching it, every time he came around the track, he was another place down.
Yeah.
And even like the guys around us were saying, like, he's cooked his tyres. He must have cooked his tyres. And yeah, he was like you said, he was blaming the bad front tyre. But up until that point, he just looked incredible. He looked like, he's going to use, there's some long straights at Silverstone, and it looked like the Ducati power was really going to help blasting past everyone. Qualified well, but just on the day, it was just like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah, frustrating, man. And he was not the only person to suffer with reportedly suffer with a bad front tyre, as we will come on to.
Yes.
But first we'll get into his teammate and Jack Miller here. Jack Miller qualified 7th, finished the race in 4th. A pretty good weekend, actually, all things considered. The championship's done. Miller's not winning the championship. But this was just a fine way. Finished as top Ducati, score some good points on all of the other Ducatis on the rivals close to you in the championship, and have a cracking battle with Aleix Espargaro in the process.
He did. Those last few laps where they were tossing and turning, changing position, just looked great. It's points like that when you see a great battle on the telly, where being at a racetrack live, and you only see him go past.
That's fair. Yeah, I guess it's a very different experience, isn't it? Like, I've not been to a MotoGP race, but I have been to BSB races and stuff. I mean, I've been with you to various racing. And it is a very, very different experience being there and seeing bikes just blast past on the bit of the track you can see. And then, watching on TV where you've got multiple camera angles, you've got onboard shots, you've got overhead shots. There's just so much more going on the TV. Yeah,
it's a little bit of a shame you missed so much of it. But yeah, we watched it back when we got home. And the battle, the last few laps of the race were just awesome.
Yeah, well, the real battle only really, because Miller was sort of stalking him, but the only real overtakes were taking place on the last lap.
Yeah. Those ones are just incredible. I love that battle.
Yeah, it was fun, man. And it was just so weird to see Aprilia fighting for a podium, mate. It was so strange.
It was so strange.
Before we come on to Aprilia then, Steve, let's just take another quick break. And when we come back, we'll dive into the last 3 manufacturers, it being Aprilia, Suzuki, and Yamaha.
Let's go for it, buddy.
Okay, guys, bear with us for one moment, and we will be right back with you. Thank you for bearing with us there, guys. We are back. So, Steve, we've just spoken about Ducati, Honda, and KTM, which brings us on to Aprilia, who we're talking about third, Steve, because, oh my God, can you fucking believe it? Aprilia and Aleix Espargaro went and scored a fucking podium, Steve. I cannot believe how excited I am about this.
Mate, I am stoked. It's been a long time coming. That effort they have put in has finally paid off. They've listened to us. Just look great. My only quibble with this is that Savadori didn't race.
It's quite a bummer. Obviously, Savadori withdrew due to his smashed up. Was his ankle, isn't it, from the collision with Danny Pedrosa's bike in the first Austria race?
Yeah, I just would have liked him to have been part of it, although he wouldn't have got on the podium. Would have been nice for him to be there.
I mean, he was in the garage, wasn't he? He was there. He was at the circuit,
the race
so he did
conditions.
Get to. Yes, yeah, certainly.
Gutted, but Aleix, man. Oh,
it was so good, mate. So good, and it was like a legit podium, man. This wasn't a chaotic race. It wasn't a wet race. It wasn't strange conditions. It wasn't 4 guys crashing out in front of him, so he takes a fluke podium. This was a 100% legit podium. It's nothing like KTM's first podium in the end of 2017. It was also the closest Aprilia have ever been to the race win, only 4.1 seconds off. Like, Oh my God, just incredible. I'm so stoked for both Aleix and Aprilia. So stoked,
Yeah.
man. After years of us just beating down on them and hating on them completely, I can't believe they've done it, mate. And they looked
Finally.
so good in the process.
They did. All weekend, he looked good. He looked comfortable, qualified well.
Qualified sixth and finished in third. I guess we didn't really say that. I got too excited about the podium.
Yeah, we probably should have just mentioned that bit. But yeah, it just looked great. I loved the celebrations when he did finally get back to Parc Fermé, just like with his kids, jumping the fence, running down pit lane to go see his kids.
Yeah, before the podium as well. Like he's like, I'll do Parc Fermé, then I'm fucking off to see the kids, then I'll come back and do your interviews and jump on the podium.
Yeah, like dedicated his podium to his wife, being there for him, supporting him, which was a really nice touch. Yeah, hopefully now this is going to be the point where this is going to energize him. Not that he needs any energizing either. Hopefully now.
But it's got to be a boost, doesn't it? It's a boost for him. It's a boost for the team. And the team's already got a boost from just managing to steal Maverick. Like this,
exactly.
The Aprilia thing is looking good now, man. Like Aprilia are on the up here. If I had money, I'd be like, I'm investing in Aprilia at this point.
It's what it seems like. It seems like now they've finally got to that point where, like, we see KTM get there quicker. But like you say, it's fluky wins, some of them.
And with KTM, they had a shitload of money to throw at it, let's be fair. And I'm not saying Aprilia are skint, because they're spending millions a year on their MotoGP project, but they're not spending anywhere near the money of the big Japanese manufacturers of KTM, not even of Ducati. Like, they're probably the smallest budget on the grid, I'd imagine. But it's just incredible to see them do it, man.
Yeah. Hopefully. Did they have the new engine for this race?
No. New engine.
Tasty.
When is the new engine due? Aragon, maybe. Maybe it's Mazzano.
Aragon,
I can't remember.
I think it could be Mazzano. But either way, that's a good omen. If they've got that in the bag, and they can already do this at the longest track, some of the biggest straights, highest average speed, to then roll out a new engine is just, the future is looking really bright. Like you say, invest in Aprilia. Yep. With Mav jumping on the bike as well, they're going to be a solid team. They're going to be a really solid team. And hopefully the future's bright going forward for them now.
Yeah, man, it's really good. I think it looks really good for Aprilia. It looks really good for Mav. It looks really good for Aleix. I'm just super stoked for the whole squad. I really do hope this continues. I feel like it will. I feel like the team is just buzzing at the moment. And they were buzzing before the podium. But now, good Lord, it must be a different level. I mean, I bet they had a fucking party.
Oh, God. We know, like, Aleix is dedicated to his training, but I reckon he had a drink.
I reckon when Aleix has a drink, mate, he has a half. It's only a half pint because he's that dedicated, and he probably drinks that infrequently. He's fucking shit-faced off a half pint.
Shandy.
Yeah, half pint of shandy with real sugary lemonade.
Oh,
none of this diet lemonade shit. Yeah, exactly.
All right, someone's in there measuring out the calories. You've got to cycle an extra 57 miles.
Yeah, in 2 hours. We need you really breaking a sweat for this one.
All right, yeah, we know this guy's dedicated. We know Maverick's dedicated to his training as well. So what's coming in? Not saying that Savadori and the others aren't, but this is going to be a team, a force to look to the future.
Yeah, it certainly will be, man. It's going to be great. Going to be great. I'm super stoked.
Oh, absolutely.
That brings us nicely onto Suzuki, Steve. And I feel like Suzuki is it's a tale of two races, really, for Suzuki here. Johan Mir qualified 11th, finished the race in 9th. Reportedly not using the ride height adjuster this weekend.
Yeah, apparently so. Apparently didn't need it.
Yes, he seemed to say that had no advantage here. He couldn't get any extra, so they took it off the bike. It's 3 kilos, the commentators were saying. So, if you're not using it, take 3 kilos off the fucking bike. I don't know if Rins was using it, though.
I don't know. Didn't hear anything about that. I assume he would have said if he was, because of like Mir not using it and being so open about it. So I assume he would have said that he was. Subject never came up, so not that I spoke to him. Just to clarify that one.
Subject never came up over that cheeky dinner, did it? You were sharing a pasty there with Rins. Didn't talk about ride height adjusters.
Yeah,
just raging at the right price of these pasties.
Yeah, he sat there like that, looking at me like you're a twat. No, nothing was mentioned. No, I've not heard anything. Mir, torrid weekend, mate.
Yes,
Title
and
defense shot to hell.
title defense is gone, mate. That's gone. This track could have been the one, as we said, like if he can win here, if he can beat Fabio, this could be it. It could kickstart a good title defense, and we expected him to do so, but there's no chance now, mate. Aside from bad luck for Fabio, Mir's not not defending his title this year.
No, Mir needs some mechanicals from Quartararo, some falls, and
a lot of problems.
And he needs the race wins. It's no good, if Quartararo blows an engine and doesn't finish, it's no good finishing in ninth.
No, exactly. What are you going to gain? 5 points on him? 6 points on him?
Yeah, no good. You're not going to close the gap. You need the 25 points, and you need 2 race wins at least to even close it. So yeah, title's gone. A weekend to forget for the world champion at the minute.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He did blame a bad tyre for the result, Steve. Another person blaming a bad tyre for the result. We heard a few riders, obviously Pecco Bagnaia obviously complained about it too, and we've heard it quite a lot this season, more than usual from a lot of riders. Now, I'm a bit torn on this, because part of me says, well, if all the riders are saying this is an issue, this has to be an issue, doesn't it? Michelin, obviously, there's a quality control issue going on. But the other part of me goes, if they're just having a shit weekend, is the tyre a very easy thing to blame?
Absolutely. It's only 1 or 2 riders, though, per weekend.
Yes, which leads me, that kind of says to me, maybe it is a bad batch. Maybe it's just, 10% of the tyres are just a bit shit.
Yeah, could well be. But also, like you say, if you just underperform and can't get to grips with the weekend, like you say, it's a really, really good way of just getting yourself out of shit.
Yeah, no one can prove anything, because the tyres all go back to Michelin at the end of it. Michelin aren't going to come out and just be like, that rider's chatting shit. They're just going to keep stum. So it's, I don't know, it feels like a very easy thing to blame, but a thing that, tyres are black magic, man. People say this in Formula One all the time. Getting your tyres up to temperature, making your tyres work, it's an art form. It's a fucking...
It is an art form.
It's the dark arts going on there. So, if you can't get it to work, or you can't get anything to work, it's very easy to blame the tyres, because none of us really know, do we?
No, when the hell are we ever going to get the chance, an opportunity to ride any kind of bike with one of those tyres on it and feel at what it's like to ride at its peak performance?
Steve, I have no doubt in my mind that one set of MotoGP tyres are worth more than all of your vehicles and all of my vehicles combined.
I've absolutely no idea what a set of Michelin race rubber costs, just one set for a race weekend.
No, I don't know, but I'm sure you can't buy the MotoGP rubber, obviously. But I don't actually know what race tyres cost. But I know it ain't cheap. I know when you go to BSB races and stuff, they'll be selling used tyres at the race to club racers. So if people are going around for club racing buying used tyres for superbikes, oh my God, they must be a fucking bomb, mate.
There was a set when we went years ago to the BSB for 150 quid.
For a used set of race tyres?
Yeah.
It's madness, isn't it?
Yeah, and these guys will use them. These guys will use them like the professionals use them for 1 round, but the stock guys will probably use them for 4 or 5 rounds.
I know a guy who was doing club racing, and he would have 1 set of dry tyres and 1 set of wet tyres for the season.
Yeah.
So I've just Googled it quickly. You can get a set of Michelin Power Slicks from the Visor shop for £182. That is the set. So
That's what's available to you and I over the counter.
Yeah, that's just a quick Google. That's what's there. They've got 4 out of 5 stars. If you want a set of what look like semi-slick Pirelli Diablo Supercoursers, you're looking at £225. But they also have a 5-star rating. So
not bad.
Faster.
It beats my Avon Classics that are on my BSA, which cost like 50 quid a pop.
A-Bomb Classics, is that what they're called?
A-Bomb Classics, mate.
That's amazing, mate. I don't know what tyres I've got on my car. I think they might be like Euro tyre or something. They're the cheap ones.
The tyres on the car, we make sure they're matching set. We're pretty, they've got to be a matching set.
They're low profiles on your car, though, aren't they? So.
No, they're not, actually.
Oh, I thought they were. Okay.
No, we just have a little Audi A3. They're just wide for some reason. It's a TDI Sport thingamajigger. And they're just wide. They're normal. For some reason, they're fat fucking tyres on it. So every time we roll it in with a puncher, it's like, it's going to cost 200 quid.
Yeah, quite. Whereas I obviously have a shitbox car. The tyres are, cheap as chips, mate. I can get a whole set of part warns, which are essentially brand new. You know how part warns works, for 50 quid. Job done.
Yeah, yeah. There is a lad at work. It's going to be a massive tangent now. Yeah, there's always that one idiot at work who's got a really nice car.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. There's a young lad at work. He's got a brand spanking new Beamer M4 Sporty Jobby. Um,
Jeez. He's
literally
getting paid too
spanking.
much, mate.
Still lives at home. His mum and dad, no outgoings. Lovely jubbly.
Happy days.
Yeah,
I
quite
think that's the
respectful.
way to do it, man. I'm convinced.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to move back in with my mum. She'll hate me, but you know.
Not only is it cheap rent, but babysitter on site.
Exactly. Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
With
Right,
no
on that
kids at
note,
next year's
Steve's got
race
to go.
weekend.
He's packing. Yeah, this lad. Right, bought this brand new BMW thingamajigger. How much a corner? If you get the recommended Michelin tyres.
Oh, and these are low profiles, aren't they, on an M4?
These are low profile, run flats, 19
Oh,
things, I believe.
Jesus Christ. How much a corner? Fuck, like 180 quid.
£279.
A corner. Fuck.
Yes, that's the recommended. You can obviously then upgrade to the extra sporty jobs. And I think he said if you went all out, you're talking over £1,000, £1,000 for a set of tyres.
Well, I mean, you're talking over £1,000 a set of tyres for the recommended ones, mate.
Yeah, but if you really crank it up, you can get right up there.
Jeez, man, that's stupid money, isn't it? It's stupid money. But there we go.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's what some people like, and if that's what they want to do with their money, fair enough, I suppose.
Yeah, go for it. Knock yourself out. Each to their own. Just enjoy yourself.
Exactly. Just don't get a dodgy Michelin. No, I'm not going to get sued by Michelin for that. Anyway, Alex Rins then. Alex Rins, who did not. He had a great tyre, a solid Michelin tyre. Amazing tyre. One of the best tyres, in fact.
Yes, but where the fuck did he come from? After his results of this year, where is this?
Well, he stayed on the bike, Steve, is what he did. He stayed on the bike.
Yeah, just Bins has become Rins.
Yeah,
again.
Exactly. And almost become wins.
Almost, very almost become wins.
So it was great to see him back on form, mate. He qualified 10th, standard qualifying for Suzuki, as we've seen for the last 2 years, but then second place. Whoa, happy days. We know he's very good at Silverstone. Obviously, having won here in 2019.
Won the last race, didn't he?
Pardon?
Won the last race we had here.
Yes, he did. So we know he's good at Silverstone, so maybe that's a big part of it, but still great. Good for him. Brings confidence back. First podium of the year.
Yes, which is really odd to think for someone of his caliber. But then we look back over his results, and it's not that odd.
Well, that's it. He's crashed out of many podium positions throughout the year, to be fair.
Yeah. What's he had? 4 DNFs so far this year.
4 or 5 at least at this point.
Something like that. Yeah, that's a lot. But it's great to see him back up there. Nice to see that smile again. Man's got a massive smile. It's great to see the result for him. And I just hope this is just a confidence boost to get back on form.
Yeah, I did notice though, Steve. You know how I always used to bang on about how much I loved his riding style. Very necky. He's just all limbs. He's always hanging weirdly off the bike.
Notice how it's changed?
I think it has. It seems to have toned down more. He seems to be a bit closer. He's hanging off the bike more. He looks more like Mir now riding. He's still a bit necky. His head's still sticking out there, and he's still a bit longer and more awkward than Mir.
He's taller
hanging
than
off
Mir,
more. Yes, he is taller than Mir, but he's hanging off more. He looks a bit more aggressive with the bike now. I think he's kind of started to emulate the Mir style. I do sort of wonder maybe that explains a lot of the crashes this year. Maybe he's been experimenting with riding styles, being like, I need to do something else. Mir clearly beat me. That's clearly the way to do it. Maybe he's been fucking up because he's been trying so hard. And this is all speculation on me. Like, I've got no idea if anyone else has said this. I don't know if anyone else has seen this or whether he's said anything, but that's just sort of how it's feeling to me now.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Watching him for like where we sat, he looked different. He looked like he was closer to the bike. Looked like that riding style. He wasn't hanging or sticking his neck. Like we've compared him to Speeds in the past, haven't we?
Yeah.
Didn't look like that at all. Looked very what is almost now the traditional riding style. Really
yeah, it's less of that old school thing, isn't it?
Yeah, your ground inside corner, elbow down, knee out, or other way around. But the outside trailing arm tucked in, knee tucked in. Like I say, still necky, still chucking the neck out, trying to get the helmet on the ground. I think you're right. I think it's a big experiment with riding style and trying to get to grips, changing his own style to suit the bike.
Yeah.
I think you might have hit a nail on the head right there.
So I guess we'll see. I mean, if this carries on, if this is now a return to where he should be fighting at the top, maybe we'll get more of this and we'll notice. But I guess it's all just wait and see. I'm still not convinced he's going to have another finish like this season. Obviously, the record books show he probably won't, but he might do.
Who knows? Who knows? He could prove us all wrong.
I hope so. I really like Rins. I hope so.
No, I do as well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, return to form.
Yes. Right then, Steve, let's move it on to Yamaha here. Yamaha, as we've said, it really was the tale of two races again. We'll talk about, conveniently, in their finishing order, we'll talk about them here. Jake Dixon finished stone last riding for the Petronas SRT squad. He qualified last in 21st, finished last in 19th. 50 seconds off the win, 30 seconds off 18th place finisher, his teammate, Valentino Rossi.
Yes.
Jake Dixon, first time he stepped on a MotoGP bike. Not the best outing, certainly not the worst outing. And he might get another go in Aragon, actually.
Hopefully. I really hope for his sake he does. First outing. Made some big improvements through qualifying, free practice. He was a long way off at the start, first FP1. Really closed the gap. Being British lad, home turf, it didn't matter how far he was back on Sunday, the air horns going off. And it was quite a surreal thing to be there and watch someone like 18 seconds behind on that last lap, because these guys were gone off around two corners. Then all of a sudden you'd hear, and he'd be coming. And the air horns would start going off. And you could see him every time he came round. He'd give it a little nod because he could obviously hear the crowd and these air horns going off. But he never gave up.
No, well, I mean, he can't, can he? He's literally riding for a job at the moment. So
yeah, I don't know. I really hope he gets another go at Aragon, just to showcase what he can do after he's had time to sort of assess what happened this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And like we say, it looks like he's going to. If not him, I'm sure it'll be Shafi Vieje.
Yeah.
So then Valentino Rossi, Jake Dixon's teammate for the weekend, actually looked pretty solid all weekend. Great qualifying result. Qualified 8th, but finished the race in 18th.
Mate.
And looked fast throughout practice and stuff. And there were people being like, God, could it be? And I mean, everyone's going to be now for the rest of the year. Now. Could it be his 200th podium? Could he do it? No, probably not. But, I said no, Aprilia aren't going to get a podium just a couple of episodes ago. And look what happened. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to manifest it, Steve. Rossi's not going to get a podium for the rest of the year.
Right. Aragon, he's on the podium.
2 rounds at Mazzano, my friend.
Yes. He looked good. There was a time, I think it was the second lap, he was in like the top 5. And I looked as he came blasting past. I was like, fucking hell, here we go.
Yeah, I'm not sure he ever got quite to the top 5, but he was certainly inside the top 10.
He was, top 6, something like that at one point, but then dropped back like a stone. Apparently, again, had cooked his tyres as the race went on, which is what caused it to drop back.
He also didn't blame a dodgy tyre, though. He blamed the conditions and the fact that the track was colder and he couldn't get the tyres switched on. He wasn't using the tyre he wanted to use. He wanted to use the hard. It was too cold. He had to run the mediums, and he said he couldn't get it turned on. So he didn't blame the tyre. He wasn't saying it was a bad tyre. He was just saying the situation around me changed, and I couldn't do what I needed to do with the tyre. I couldn't use the tyre I wanted. I couldn't do what I needed to do.
Completely understandable. That was cold. When the sun came out, don't get me wrong, when it did break through the clouds, typical British summer, it was hot. It was very hot. If that sun had stayed out, then it would have been a completely different race because that track would have got hot. Yeah. But as it was a cold track. The air temperature was cold, as it always is in Britain. I think there was, at one point when we were driving there, even a bit of drizzle in the air.
Classic British summertime, my friend.
Yeah, we were about 5 miles away. I looked out, and like one side of the car was really blue. I was like, "This could be a great day." I looked out of my window, and it was grey. I was like, "Oh fuck!"
Oh god, where's the coat?
Yeah, basically, this is how bad it was. Because at home here, we're 150 miles away from the track. Friday and Saturday, it literally tipped it down. It was disgusting here. I was just like, fuck's sake, we're going to get soaked. It's going to be a washout. We even went to go outdoors, and I bought the boys all-in-one rain suits just in case.
That's great.
That's how I prepped up, just thinking it was going to be a washout. But it was just your typical British cool summer day. So yeah, I completely get what he is saying with like couldn't do what he wanted to do. It's a long track. It's hard on the tyres. You have to run the hard tyre. And if you couldn't do it, yeah, I get it. I understand completely why he cooked it up.
Yeah, that's it. And for most of the race, to be fair, he was there. He was in the top 10 for the majority of the race, and it really was only the last 4 or 5 laps that he just dropped like a stone.
He did as well. There was times when he came past, I forget who overtook him, but he was 3 bikes behind where he was the lap before.
Wow.
Oh, was it 2 bikes? I think, it might have been 2 bikes. I think it might have been Tacker and Bagnaia went past him.
Bagnaia was also falling backwards around that time.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely Tacker. And Alex Marquez went past him, where it's like he just started to drop back, couldn't hold place. But still, after the race, he gave it a real slow, as everyone saw at home, ride around, and it was nice to see him sort of acknowledging the crowd. The flares were going off. We saw Alex Rins grab that one flare, didn't we?
Yeah, I like that. I see Alex Rins grabbing a yellow flare.
Actually, someone let a flare off in the stand we were in, and I didn't realise till everything just went yellow. It was just like, can't breathe.
Choking everyone out.
Yeah, literally. I would not have wanted to be sitting right next to him. It's bad enough, like down the other end. That was like our cue. I had Brody like on the lap, smothered him in the jacket, and we just legged it out.
Yeah, that's probably the best shout in that scenario.
Yeah, those things are pungent as well, this thing.
Right then, the factory Yamaha duo. Next up, first one to talk about is Cal Crutchlow, isn't it? Qualified 19th, finished the race in 17th. Just not the weekend we expected from Cal, man. I know he was probably testing parts, but this felt like a really disappointing result considering he was on the factory machine, and we really did expect him to do something special at Silverstone.
Yeah, I expected more. Like you've got the notes, we knew he was probably testing parts, which were going to hinder his results. But I was expecting somewhere around the top 10, seeing as he knows the track well, he's going to be spurred on by home crowd, he's on the factory bike. But it is what it is. He's not.
Exactly. At least he wasn't the last Yamaha.
No. At least he had his teammates around him.
Yeah, exactly.
If not a long way around him. He finished the race. Let's take that positive from it.
Yeah.
And it was great to see him back on the bike.
That's exactly it. And I just like seeing him in a full factory machine again, man. It's nice.
And apparently a very, very funny guy. I can confirm by the cameraman dude that we know.
Oh, there we go. See? Even more inside knowledge, eh? What a treat.
Yeah, apparently he's full of jokes.
Good stuff. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
Let's talk about his teammate then, one Fabio Quartararo. This man is on fucking fire this year, Steve. Qualified 3rd and took a dominant win in the race. Just unstoppable. He looked incredible throughout. And, he had the big crash in free practice, and it looked a lot like shit. He's gone down hard. He couldn't walk on that ankle, man. It really looked like shit. This could be a nasty one. And it's the second time now I've seen a big crash in free practice for him, and I've gone, that could be his title. I remember texting you one time, like, I think he might be out, man. This looked bad.
I thought he was out this time. When I saw him like hobbling around, I thought he's done something here.
Yeah.
And it's just that boot, because we know like if you keep the compression on a brake or something like that, it will hold the bone together. And like the adrenaline is coursing, and it only swells when you release that boot. Mm-hmm. And like we saw camera shots of him like disappearing off into the trailer. And I thought, if you take that boot off, that foot's going to swell. And luckily, I was wrong. I was expecting something broken.
Yeah, and it looked that way. The way he reacted, the way he moved around after it, that's what it looked like to me. I was like, shit, this could be done. Like, this is nasty.
That really does feel, did look like it was game over, but luckily for us, it wasn't. And what man did we see?
Exactly. He didn't start in first, as we said. Had to fight the first few laps to take the lead, but once he'd taken it, mate, he just went and just
couldn't stop him.
Class of the field, mate. It was a Lorenzo-esque win, man. He is the Yamaha's modern day Lorenzo.
He is. Every time he came past us, it was like, fuck me. He's still going. He's still.
He was pulling 7-8 tenths a lap for 3, 4, 5 laps in a row. He pulled a huge amount on everyone.
Yeah, just pulled that pin, as we used to say, and he looked smooth. He was hitting the same mark. I watched him. Bit of a nerd thing here, but I lined up one of the pillars with the apex, the little red white markers, and he hit that spot every single time. He did not miss. I just sat there. Brody was asleep. It was those few laps. It was like duff, duff, duff. Did not miss it. It was pinpoint perfect.
Lorenzo-esque, man.
Yeah, smooth as butter, man.
Yeah.
Just could not. If he carries on this style and nothing goes wrong, he doesn't injure himself, I can't see anyone challenging him at all.
No. Well, that puts him now on 206 points in the championship race, mate. That is 64 points ahead of Johan Mir in second place. And I mean, it's pretty tight up there. I'm just going to run through the top 10 quickly now I'm here. It's pretty tight in the next few spots. Like I say, Johan Mir on 141. Only 3 points behind him is Johan Zarco on 130. 4 points behind him. Geez, that was simple maths. Only 4 points behind him is Johan Zarco with 137. And then a single point separates Zarco and Bagnaia. Miller then bringing up the trio of Ducatis there in fifth place on 118. Brad Binder, man, sixth on 108 points. Only 10 points off Miller. And really only not even 30 points off second place. Like Binder
that's tight. That is
tight. 33 points off second place actually, so he's a few more. But yeah, he's really snuck in. He's crept up on us here. Maverick Vinales is in seventh with 95, and Miguel Oliveira in eighth with 85. Aleix Espargaro on a ninth with 83 points, and then a small jump back to Jorge Martin on 64 points in 10th, and Alex Rins also on 64 points.
Nice.
That's pretty much the end there, Steve. We'll just go over our predictions once more.
Do we have to?
You did better than me, my friend. I predicted a Mir win, Quartararo second, and Marquez first. I realised when I sent you the notes I hadn't put these back in yet. And I've just copied them in from last week's notes. You, Steve, predicted a Quartararo win with a Mir second and a Binder third. So you got the winner. You did better than me.
Oh, something, I guess.
Yeah, I did, though. Although I gave a Mir win here and Quartararo second, I did go all in on Quartararo in the Fantasy League, and I've put a boost on him, which is why I've managed to jump up so many places.
You did jump well. I should have boosted it. I've got 2 left. I'm going to have to take some gambles soon.
Yes, yeah, I think you probably are. I probably wouldn't do it at Aragon, though. I'd probably wait for Mazzano, where you can put it on Quartararo.
Yeah, I think that could be 2 on the bounce at Mazzano.
Yeah. Steve, before we do end, we won't run through the Fantasy League this week. We've just mentioned it briefly, but we're running long. We do have a question that we got in the email from a listener, which we'll just go through quickly. So this came from Nathan. And the question is, why did factory Yamaha squad not put Valentino on the vacant Maverick seat? Having just seen Rossi managed 8th on the Petronas, what could he have achieved on a full factory steed? How cool it would have been to see out the season in style. Obviously, that 8th place doesn't refer to the Silverstone race, but to the round before.
Yes.
So, Steve, what do you think about this? I think Valentino didn't put him on the vacant Maverick seat or Yamaha didn't put Valentino on the vacant Maverick seat just because they'd already booted him out of the factory team. He's not quick enough. He's shown he's not quick enough. They may as well put their test rider on there and then bump Morbidelli up to get the rest of the season. I think it just makes more sense. It would have been cool. It would have been really cool for him to, see the season out like that, but just not practical for Yamaha. I mean, people are still going to turn up. People are still going to go see his last race, whether he's riding a Monster Yamaha or a Petronas Yamaha. It doesn't make much difference, and I don't think his results would have been much different anyway.
No, I completely agree with you. I think it's just the fact that, like you say, he was punted out of that team last year, got dropped back down to the Petronas team. Not really quick enough to test parts, although we know he is a hell of a development rider in the past. But you've now got someone in Cal who is solely dedicated to testing parts, and you want to test those parts on the most modern, up-to-date machinery. So Cal naturally comes into the factory team to test parts, which will operate essentially on that bike next year.
Yep.
And Rossi is, like you say, he's a draw anyway. People will come to see him, and his results just haven't been there. What he's done this year doesn't warrant being on the factory bike.
Yeah, I am with you completely.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you have any questions like Nathan did, anything you want to say, or if you just want to come and hang out with us, you can find us on
We are For the Love of MotoGP. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, or come across and join our Facebook community. It's still growing. The conversation has been excellent in there this week. I tried to do some crappy Facebook Lives from Instagram, which I just basically showed my ignorance to technology.
It was my favourite thing, mate, was the first one. There's you, Enzo on your shoulders, walking down, and I saw a look of confusion as you'd started to the thing, and you had a moment where you were like, am I doing it? I don't know. And then you started, you gave us your brief chat and stuff, and then when you tried to stop it at the end, there was just this look of confusion again, like, shit, how do I stop this? And for a moment, I looked at and I was like, I think Steve thinks he's stuck forever. Like, the thought of you being like, I'm going to have to do this all day until my battery dies now. Really, that's what you looked like.
I was lost, mate. I was quite impressed that Enzo actually said hi, because normally he's quite shy.
I mean, it usually, mate, when I come into your house, I have to be there for hours before he'll even say hello to me. He'll just poke his head round the door or round someone's legs and just sneak about.
Yeah, he's quite shy. The fact he says hello, you should all be very impressed or privileged. But yeah, there was that. I turned it on, and because I'd never done Instagram, Facebook Live before, you press it, and it was like start live feed, and it gives you all these options.
Okay, I've never done it, mate, so I was laughing at you, but I wouldn't have a fucking clue either.
No, and there was just this big blue button, and it said start, and it just come up with a swirly thing. And because the internet was so crap, I realised that like it was still loading, but it was live.
Okay.
So I still had the little swirly thing on the screen, and then to turn it off, I was expecting the button to be in exactly the same spot, but it wasn't. It was right down in the bottom right-hand corner, and it was fucking tiny.
This is a prime example of why you should practice stuff before doing it.
Yeah, just don't go balls deep, both feet in, have a little piss about before you go at it. But that's not my style. I like, wade in and see what happens. And that's basically what I did.
Yeah, there it is.
All right. But yes, also, you can find us on, if you have any other questions, want to get in contact with us, drop us an email. We are ForTheLoveOfMotoGP@gmail.com.
Yeah, and I've been having some nice chats with people via email at the moment. So if you do just want to give us a shout to say hi, ping us an email. I promise we do get round to responding. It just takes a few days sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes we're busy. We both have jobs. Sometimes we can't reply straight away, but we do read them. We read everything we get, good or bad.
Yeah, exactly. That then, Steve, brings us to the end. And today on the show, Steve, I want to end with a quote from Nick Harris's blog on MotoGP.com.
Aye.
So Nick Harris was at Silverstone. He was watching it, and this was what he said after the race. Valentino Rossi arrived on his slowing down lap, his last ever lap in Britain and at Silverstone, the last time the number 46 would grace this hollowed tarmac. So, guys, thank you for listening. We will speak to you next week. Stay safe. Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Music is by Andrew Greenwood. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.